first thing that we have on the agenda is, actually, let's do introductions just real quick. I don't recognize you.
Yeah. Mark West, Lehigh City. One of the city planners there, filling in for Kim today.
Great, thank you.
Scott Bird with Mapleton City. Greg Beckstrom with Provo City.
Brandon Snyder with Linden City.
Richard Nilsson, Utah County.
Carrie Malkovich, Woodland Hills.
Eric Ellis, Lake Commission.
Clayton Wolf. Live on Utah Lake.
And Noelia Deaton, Utah Lake Commission.
It looks like Sarah Johnson's on her way over here, so Sarah's with the Central Utah Water Services District. Okay, first thing we have is to review and approve the minutes from our meeting in January. We don't quite have a quorum, but I never cared about that when I'm in charge.
I never saw that.
Really?
There's a copy, right?
I'm sure they're fine, but you don't normally we get a copy before the meeting.
Let's wait then. We'll approve them for the next meeting.
Send them all out again.
Send them all out again. And then, the one pager that we're going to get next time. I guess introductions was number
Hello.
3. Hey Sarah, how are you?
Good.
Good. Glad you dressed warm.
Yeah, I wish I got the memo saying dress warmer.
Well, Scott's got a jacket if you. Updates from committee members. Does anybody have anything that's not already on the agenda that they'd like to bring up? Great, thanks. Updates on water Utah Lake issues. DWQ. I don't see a DWQ rep here.
They will be doing a presentation at the governing board meeting this coming Thursday. Their water assessment is going to have a public comment period during the month of April. And so be aware of that. We'll send any information that we get out to the technical committee so that you can review it and provide comments if there's some to be made.
So they're going to present at next week's meeting?
Next week's meeting.
They're going to be looking for comments on what?
I guess on the process as the finalized process going forward. Erica Gaddis reached out and asked if they could do a presentation to talk about what that comment period would be even related to. So I don't know more than that at this stage.
So they're just doing kind of a more in-depth nutrient study to figure out what is best for Utah Lake.
Correct. So they did a kickoff meeting at one of our committee meetings 3 meetings ago, and then that kind of got the ball rolling, and then I think that their modeler has come back from his hiatus and has the model put together, and so I'm assuming that that's probably what they're going to have comment on.
Okay, do we know if this is part of the TMDL or is this outside of the TMDL process?
I think it's within.
And so these
but
results would be used to establish a TMDL.
Correct. Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry we're late.
That's
Sorry, we're
okay. Do you guys
outside.
want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, Sarah with Saratoga Springs.
Great.
I'm Kara with Saratoga Springs.
Okay.
Nelson Gallo with American Fort City.
Great. All right. Welcome. Let's see. Jason was going to update us, but he's very ill.
He's very ill.
I
Did you know anything that?
So the dredging status, they're shooting for an August 1st start on the dredge for the harbor and the channel. They're at the point where they're about to release the RFP for that to get bids. And we know of at least a couple individuals that are interested in pursuing that, and they'll look at various options as the tool for doing the dredge, but it looks like it's moving ahead.
The scope is just the channel? Is that,
No, the scope,
Harbor.
at a minimum, the scope is the inner harbor and the channel.
okay.
Depending on how far the funding can go, we have one individual that's suggested that he could do the both inner and outer and channel for,
With the budget we
yeah,
have?
well within that budget, so we'll see how that goes.
What is the budget that we've?
I think that it's 1.5 million.
How far out into the lake will that?
Not far, it would just go in one of the.
Is there a good?
In one of the plans, it's they would do a rounded coffer dam at the entrance, so that it wouldn't just make a line right there at the entrance, but rather kind of a bit of a bow. And it's within a foot of the full lake average depth by the time they get to that point.
Okay. All right, Eric, how about an update on Phragmites treatment?
Yeah, so this year we put in a request through the Watershed Restoration Initiative for funding to do Provo Bay and the Powell Slough, and it ranked really high. It was ranked second in the central region among quite a long list of projects, 40 projects or so. And so presumably we get funding for that. That's 2,300 acres of Phragmites treatment, and plus an additional 450 of spot treatments around the lake. So,
Wow. 5 times what
Yeah, it started with.
In 1 year.
We went and talked with Watershed Restoration managers and said, hey, this is what we're thinking. Is this doable? And they said, yeah, let's do it. Let's get it finished. And that'll finish the full first round of the lake.
Yeah.
And then from here on out, it's just treating where it comes back, which it does.
I got here early and just drove down and looked to the north, right along the Skipper Bay area, and
Yeah,
you can tell it's been treated, but it's
it's coming back in places, yeah.
And we all know that that's going to be a battle we fight forever.
Should I just punch through a couple of
Sure,
these?
yeah. Looks like you're the most.
So carp removal, again, we went and presented to the legislature this year. Mike Mills and I went up there and worked with Representative Green from down in the county here, and they appropriated $450,000 for carp removal this year. We asked for $400,000. How often does that happen?
Yeah, never.
And so that'll cover us. We had funding till November of this year, and so that'll cover essentially the whole next year. They have an additional $300,000 from Bureau of Reclamation, I think. And so there will be one more year of a full request up to the legislature, and then they'll switch to maintenance mode. And in the meantime, they're also doing the carp density study so that they'll have a good solid understanding of how effective it's been so far.
Do you know if it's getting more difficult for the loys to fish?
It is. The numbers are, I mean, they're still doing decent, but the numbers are curving and dropping off in their ability to pull them in, so it's a good sign.
He's still charging us the 20 cents a pound.
Is that what it is? I haven't heard of any change in the pricing so far.
Seems that if it gets more difficult, the price will go up.
It must not be that much more difficult
He
yet.
just renewed his contract and is charging the same amount. Mike expected him to bump it, he didn't, so.
So you're making oodles of money off of this.
So the state grant was last year's $500,000. We put that out to bid, and we had bids from, we've talked about it before. We had Spanish Fork is doing a trail alignment to take their community trail from I-15 where it ends out to Sandy Beach. The Utah Lake Commission put in for a funding to go towards the Utah Lake Nature Center site analysis, which determines where, and then a site plan, which determines scope of the project, and estimates for the building of it, so that we can take that to the interested parties and look for funding, and kind of put together a rendering of what that building would look like in the grounds and so forth. So a contractor was selected, and we're just finalizing the contract for that. It'll get approved at next week's governing board meeting, or at least the right to proceed will be approved at next week's meeting. And then we'll work through them. There's a subcommittee that's been chosen to help guide that process from both this committee and the commission.
So can just verify, so the $500,000 for the grant are going to the two projects?
Sorry, so I ended quick. So then, and then the other two, the actual big chunks of it are American Fork Boat Harbor. They got almost half of that grant, and then Saratoga Springs Pelican Bay Marina got the other half.
To do what?
To do marina expansions. So the American Boat Harbor will have an additional launch pad. They'll have a beach area. It'll improve it so that it's a place that you can actually go as a destination rather than just being a boat launch. Saratoga Springs, also similar, adding additional boat area or slips, adding beach, improving the area. Kind of as you enter the Pelican Bay Marina, you drive down through kind of a wooded area that's not being used for much, and it would expand usage up into there with some additional amenities.
So 4 projects.
4 projects.
Good.
So the Nature Center we just discussed. Vineyard Beach is an interesting one. This is a private development that we're just simply assisting kind of work being done between this private development by Flagship Homes, which is just north of Gammon Lane. There's the Shores development to the north of that. Just
The old sod farm.
Pardon?
The old sod
So
farm.
the old sod farm will be this development, and we're working with the county, with Aaron Eager and others to help get that beach area in front of that cleaned up so that there isn't all the invasives down there, so that they can. There's sand above the compromise, and that'll just be cleaned off and used as a public access point for beach usage. And then helping them figure out the permitting process to get. They're hoping to kind of carve away where all that sod was pushed off the edge for years and years and years. They're hoping to carve that back and get it graded so that it's a nice gradual slope down to that area. So helping them work through with Forestry, Fire, and State Lands and Army Corps and the county, depending on where the lines are to get that done.
The developer, the one that's getting rid of all that sod and stuff.
And getting the trail through that point as well.
Yes, and completing the trail from where it ends at that existing development, and it'll connect it right up to the county trail just south of Vineyard Beach proper. The next item, Provo River Delta Restoration Project. This is just happening to the north of here. The Skipper Bay Trail, if you come out of the park, go up a block and then turn left, that you come to the end of the street there, and that's the Skipper Bay Trail. About halfway down that trail is where the Provo River Delta project will start, and so they'll be removing the remaining portion of Skipper Bay Trail, and I guess everybody's probably fairly familiar with that. The status right now is that they're just completing the property evaluations through a federal agency, so it's been kind of held up a little bit. When they get those evaluations, then they can make offers to the landowners who have already expressed an interest and willingness if they can figure out the pricing on it. And then they have funding. I think they have $15 million already set aside for that project to immediately get in there and start developing that. They'll divert the river, send the majority of the water out through that delta that they develop, and the remaining portion will come into here, just a small portion, 10 CFM or something like that, up to 50 CFM, will come into the channel here that will be aerated and blocked off both at the diversion point and down here and turned into a sport fishery, community fishery type area. So that's moving ahead. There will also be a presentation on that at the governing board meeting by one of the Bureau of Rec individuals.
On the next
Quick
Thursday.
question, Rick.
Yes.
I'm new on this committee, but in American Fork, we have the south of the city, right next to the lake. It's all part of the county. Piece by piece, they're coming annexated into the city. Is there a master plan for the trails that we could start using?
Correct.
We can get a copy to you.
Okay, I would like to start out. Yeah, but that's my only chance to get right away for responding today. Because we're being bombarded with all of those annexations, and that's my only chance to preserve the right way for trails.
Yeah.
If we have a standard for the width and the material, that will also help us.
We have
Okay,
that.
awesome.
I think that you guys adopted the shoreline protection
Yes, we
area,
did.
and included in that was adopted something by. Do you remember which code that was? Some national standard trail code.
NAFSPA or
Yeah,
not NAFSPA?
but yeah, that's. This is, as it's your annex, this is your chance to.
This is my chance.
And the county has that delineated between here and Saratoga Springs,
Right.
so
Okay.
just
I'll think
80 miles to go.
The last item, budget ideas. I just want, we're completing the budget right now for fiscal year 17. And if there's any ideas, we have promotion, we have line items for promotion opportunities, for sponsoring opportunities. This year we put money back in again for invasive removal. So projects like the one that we're working on, partnering with Saratoga Springs to get the canal cleared out of all those trees. And there's Russian olive and tamarisk in the canal there. It's right along the frontage development. Projects like that, we're going to be able to partner with the county to work on that. Get some of those areas cleaned up. So there's a view out to the lake and get native trees and
Is our next meeting involve a helicopter tour?
yeah. So, as you look through your communities, especially down near the lake, if you see a need for tree removal or invasive removal, every year the county, through their weed program, invasives program, they're removing tons and tons of that, and we can prioritize areas if you're seeing a need in your community. So.
On the
let us
same
know.
line, we have development on the south of the city of American Fork. And the cross-section for the American Fork River changes throughout the city,
Okay.
and it gets smaller as we get close to the lake. I would like to start removing some of those trees, because those are the main reason for part of the sedimentation and reducing the flow rates around that area. We have some of the resources that we could share with the county or with this group or as a grant. But I would like to standardize cross-section all the way out from the lake going up to the I-15 bridge. Some of those trees.
Richard, you know as well as I or more. I don't know how available. Their crews are super busy, but they have a cutting crew, 4 guys or so.
What we have is a section of actually wildland fire guys.
Okay.
And so we're still off season. We can throw them in, and once we get into fire season, and we have 2 different crews. We have an in-state crew and an out-state crew.
So would they arrange with you, or who would they?
We can arrange it through me, and then it actually be through Kevin Cortez down at the fire office, but I can coordinate that.
We
so.
have the resources, we have. So even in a local agreement free of charge.
Yep.
Yeah.
We could, so we just need permission to do it.
Okay. So work.
Yeah, as far as like, the tree removal, we haven't had any issues as we've dealt with the state on stream alteration.
That's my next question.
But if we get into the channel, and then we have to get into stream alteration stuff. But as far as tree removal, they've been, as long as we're not down in the river channel with equipment, they're okay with it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. Well, we're probably not going to be able to watch a video.
No, video's off. So we have a rough version of the video that's talks about the benefits of Phragmites removal. We had Commissioner Ellerton, Dee Chamberlain from Saratoga Springs HOA, Aaron Eager, and Mark Farmer with the Division of Wildlife talk about the benefits of this big program for removing Phragmites around the lake, and thought that it was a good time to put together something that would make that a compelling case. So we have the video put together, and it'll be ready probably next week for sharing around. So I'll be sure to share it with this group when we get that completed, the link for it anyway.
Okay, the next one, Luke Allen, who's Eric's assistant. He's not here. They've had some real family health concerns.
Yeah. Known ones.
So I don't know if you want to speak to those.
I can quickly talk to those as well. So communication strategy. We've been moving ahead with a communication strategy that involves a lot of social media, posting regularly, getting a newsletter out monthly, working with various communities to get interesting ideas, but also add into that and that's doing really well. We get regular comments back on that. People excited about things that are happening on the lake. So if you have lake activities happening that you're scheduling over the summer, be sure to share those with us. We also have a schedule or a calendar on the website, and the more activities we can get on there, the better. We're looking at various opportunities to get people down to the lake this summer. The Lake Festival is our biggest one, of course, and getting some additional activities down here while that's taking place to make it a really memorable experience for people that get down here. The Adopt a Shoreline program has just been started, and we already have 3 organizations that are sponsoring 3 access points.
Who are they?
The bow fishing community. Oh, you caught me off guard. Bow fishing, the Water Ski Association, and there's an LDS group of some type that we're also going to sponsor.
Long-term commitment or just
Long-term.
1 year?
Well, they're 1 year. It's a 1 year contract, but
They're interested in
they would
renewing
continue.
it on an annual basis.
And so we're reaching out to a couple of the corporations that have volunteer programs to finalize. We really just need 4 or 5 official organizations to hit the main access points.
Where are the 3 points that they're
I'll get that
asking
information
all the
to you
tough
later.
questions?
Yeah. Luke was primed and ready for this, and
It's good to know that you trust your employees.
yeah. Well, and the photo contest, the deadline for that is May 28th. We've already got entries coming in. Last year's was a huge success. We got some really neat artwork, and we use that regularly throughout the year as ways to highlight it in our social media postings and so forth, and that's what we'll do yet again. We've partnered with Allen's Camera, and that's where people drop off some submissions, and then the prizes, there's quite a good supply of prizes that will be gift cards to purchase camera equipment and stuff like that down at Allen's.
Where's the information for that?
On the website.
Okay.
And on our Facebook account, and as we've posted a couple times on, pardon?
The newsletter.
And in the newsletter.
Okay.
So all the details are on that. The Utah Lake Festival Planning Group, if you have any interest in participating in the festival, we have 3,500 people come down to the state park here for the morning of, is it June 4th. It's a Saturday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. And we get lots of booths set up around this, the visitor center, kind of wrapping around to the harbor area there. And we get lots of people down here doing fun stuff. It's kind of a cool family activity. We'll probably bring in some more sand. Last year we brought in quite a few dump truck loads full of sand and dropped them on the outside of that inner harbor dike area, and people loved playing out there. We built a big, ginormous June sucker sandcastle. Anyway, that should be another fun activity. And the planning meeting for that is next Wednesday. That'll be the first of the planning meetings, and then we'll have a regular meeting until we get that all planned and ready to go. That's all.
Any other comments from committee members, questions?
Just have a quick question. Again, going to my city, we have some zoning close to the lake that is industrial manufacturing. We are receiving lots of applications for those kind of land uses. That makes me very nervous because if we have a spill right next to the lake, we actually in 2012, we have an old refinery that had an incident of a spill, and we responded quickly. We were able to stop an oil spill from reaching the lake. So, are there any grants or programs where we could apply for buying some of those parts of for permanent easement, for easement preservation, so we protect the shoreline of the lake for future development? I think that's the safest and secure way to start those kind of projects.
There aren't necessarily any through the commission right now, but it would be the sort of thing that some of the land management companies, some of the, like the Nature Conservancy.
There is a state agency that has done it in the past.
Is this Lee Ray McAllister?
Maybe it is, I don't know, because when we bought the Despain easement on the property for similar purposes, probably a decade or more ago, and essentially they put up half the money and the city put up half the money to buy the open space easement.
Okay.
So it was a 50-50 share, but I can't remember what state agency that was worked through. But they were willing to do it on a 50-50 basis.
One of the thought too, Mister, is that talk about the areas that are annexing. I know some of the cities have looked at the whole area that would annex and working out with the landowners, the developers, maybe clustering some of the development. This more residential than the industrial commercial, but leaving the open space down by the lake. I think Lehigh did something like that with one that just came in. Kim talked about it last time at the meeting.
Yeah, is that Willis Crossing subdivision?
We have 110 acres that were annexed to the city, and it was a tough fight. We used the shoreline protection line and the 4496 elevation, that's the maximum elevation of the lake, to convince the council that was as close as we could get with development. But it was a really tough fight. We had to work really hard to protect that area. It's going to be like camping, like that kind of things. Manufacturing. What I see the pattern is salvage yards and manufacturing is all coming around the lake. So at least in our area, we're trying to protect that with some kind of a conservation easement.
You can use the Utah Lake Master Plan to point to different goals and objectives that by allowing certain types of development may impede the desire for the future vision of the lake. But the plan itself does not identify specific areas that should be preserved. When the plan was created, there was an effort to balance the desire for development as well as with preservation, and it falls upon the responsibility of the municipality to zone it how they want to ensure that what they would view as incompatible uses to be placed there. So kudos to American Fork for passing that. You at least had the shoreline ordinance that protected up to a certain point, but there's beyond that point that is still of a concern. Yeah.
The marina zone allows this kind of development,
Mm-hmm.
so I think it stands quite far into the land.
I think the commission's desire is to develop appropriately and smartly, and to encourage ongoing public access to the lake from multiple points.
In Saratoga Springs, we're working on a new zone, and we're going to put it on our master plan next to the lake shore. It's called a mixed waterfront zone, and it encourages like boardwalks and shops and things like that. And we're in the process of creating it. Kara's been working on it. We did some field trips up through Idaho, Washington, Oregon, to look at other waterfront types of developments, and then we presented a slideshow to our city council. So we can share those materials. You know, our city council drove the effort, though. They want to preserve the lake shore, so it's probably convincing your elected officials that to change their mindset regarding the lake shore, and you know, getting them focused on that, so that they'll do things like change the zoning and you know, and we're adopting a new zone for it. So
you could use examples from Saratoga Springs, but then you can always point to parts of the master plan that show that this is what the Utah Lake Commission, which was created by the entire region and state agencies, we're all working together to accomplish this, and try to, in order to help you change that mindset if a mindset change is needed.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. It's too cold right now, but do we know any dates of mosquito abatement, when that will start?
Contact Utah County Health Department.
Yeah, the health department.
They do all the mosquito abatement through their
I know, I just didn't know if they had told you when they might start.
It's usually mid-April or so when they start ramping up.
Is this Zika virus something that we gotta be concerned with?
If they are mosquitoes, don't carry it.
My
but-
understanding of what the health department's told me is that the mosquitoes around here don't carry, that they're a warmer weather mosquito and don't live here in Utah, so that's what I know about it.
They have to make their way up all the way around from the southern hemisphere up here.
They get lucky. Somebody who is
That's true. He's sick here.
sick. Permanent effect.
Okay.
My understanding on that is that the mosquitoes that are here they won't even carry the virus.
They don't have the gene.
Yeah.
Okay, well, our next meeting is scheduled for April 20th at 9:30. It might be here, might be somewhere else, or if there's not enough to talk about, it'll be canceled.
It'll be warmer.
Maybe. Right around field trip time, and I've been down here for field trips when it's been colder than this.
You'll get a cold day in April.
All right, thank you for your coming. We apologize that we couldn't have the building open, but we'll let Jason have it.
yeah.
Let me give you a card
Have our presentation.
of that.
We're drafting the zone right now. So I will note that it'll consist of a zone and an overlay as well, which will apply to all zones along the lake shore.
Okay,
The zone itself is specific.
because I know that Vineyard is doing a similar, well, I don't know what they're doing yet because I haven't seen it, but they are doing kind of a mixed use, and they have lower buildings towards the front, or houses sitting back a little ways, but in one little small area they're going to do a residential, a commercial retail area with kind of restaurants overlooking, as part of their master plan to kind of get people down by the lake, and just kind of have that concentrated in one small area. And then the rest will be houses that sit back a little. And then as it goes further back, they have high density, condos that are at the very back of that development, so that it kind of tiers down,
Oh, okay.
so that you're not obstructing views. When I spoke with Councilmember Arch,
Right.
she mentioned that you guys are doing something like that, where you've developed an ordinance that'll keep houses kind of